All right, we are the great
We're half
transition,
live.
but we're half live. Yeah, we are. We're half live. Half live. That is the situation, guys. What it means is, if you're on YouTube right now, you are watching us, but for some reason, we Facebook is acting up today.
Is it just
So
us or is it like all Facebook?
I think Mark Zuckerberg has beef with
It's
you,
got it in
Seth.
for us.
Yeah, I think there's a situation. He's trying to resist the great transition. How do we explain to Mark Zuckerberg that it's not up to him? It's not up to us either. It's bigger. It's greater
Kabbalists have
than
always
us.
Kabbalists have always encountered opposition throughout the generations. I
That's
guess we should
true.
have anticipated that at some point Facebook would
That's true.
give
And
us a hard
every
time.
and you know this, you know how the saying goes, every truth is first ridiculed, then,
Oh, is
fiercely
that why I'm constantly ridiculed?
resisted, but then it's
What is it? And
taken,
then accepted?
and then it's taken for granted. Like, yeah, something
What
like
is
that.
what? Yeah, yeah. That should be. I need that sticker up in my on
Yeah,
my forehead.
yeah. I can't remember who. Actually, there was a philosopher who said that. Maybe Schopenhauer. I actually learned that as when I did like 2 years philosophy. That was that was
Glad I
hit.
didn't know you then.
Yeah. Anyways,
Anyway,
so
hello, Master
Zaki,
Within from
Zaki.
uh, hello, Master Within from Egypt. Hello, Noah in Puerto Rico. Need to know in Canada, slightly slanted in Minnesota. Miriam in Greece.
Yes.
Stacia, Patricia, Dot. Hi, Dot. Um, who else? Ruth in Virginia. Of course, Stacia, Northern California. Of course, Denise is with us on Thursdays. Um, oh,
Denise.
need to know is saying we need to show the Zuck some money. Then he'll
Denise, she is helping us behind the scenes. I'm sure we asked her already, but let's ask her again. Please tell anyone somehow on Facebook, maybe uh, as a comment on the post that inviting people to this live feed. Just tell them to go YouTube. Send them the link.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I see Kiko is over there. Maybe even reply to their, I don't know, somehow, hopefully they get the message. Asaf, I felt like this was going to be our greatest show yet, and half of our friends are possibly not going to be here.
I'm
So
gonna hit a button here that maybe it'll work. Um, Maybe it'll work, and we won't even know. So if it does work, let us know. Just let us know if by any chance you're starting to see us on
how will they
Facebook.
let us know if they're in YouTube?
No, no, those who are trying on Facebook right now, if you're watching us on Facebook,
Well,
we
just push
had
the
some.
button and let's see what
I pushed
happens.
it. I pushed it. Yeah. Now I'm saying
Oh,
it
oh, we're live
for.
on Facebook.
We are? Are we
Hey,
live on
yeah,
Facebook?
Denise said we're live on Facebook.
All right.
Okay,
You
there we
see
go.
the
Oh,
power
okay.
of the power
Whew.
of asking Mark Zuckerberg directly.
You think he's got this on in the background in the
Of
office?
course he does. He understood that we're the real deal. The great transition is happening, you know? You cannot resist
Okay.
it. It's not us, it's nature. It's nature's plan. All right, cool.
Oh, Joe Donnelly, you're out there. Joe said Zuckerberg saw we were doing too much good. So,
Okay, so we are now
all right. So
live.
we're here, everyone. Hello, everyone in Facebook
Yes. And
and
YouTube.
and YouTube. I see
Yes.
hi Miriam in Mexico. Hi Sharon in Israel. Hi Rodrigo in Brazil. Oh, everybody is here. That is so great. So hi
Yep.
everyone. Asaf. Here we go.
Talk to me.
Episode 55.
55, man.
We're back in the
55.
saddle. Okay.
Wow.
So, Asaf,
Yeah,
when there is this is what's on my mind. You have a little baby, and we
I
invest the
do.
family.
I
You
do.
you do have a little
She's
baby.
amazing.
Um,
Yeah.
what is a boy or girl?
Yeah.
She. So you have two girls and a boy. So you got
Two
boy, girl,
girls and a
girl.
boy. Boy, girl, girl. Yeah. Yeah.
What'd you name this child?
The English name would be Rachel.
Ah, Rachel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful,
The no, but the
beautiful.
Hebrew name is actually Shira. I mean, it's like the
Oh,
all our kids are like the you got like an Israeli name first, like Zohar, and then Abraham, Ohayan, and then like Noga,
okay,
Rebecca, and then Shira, Rachel.
okay.
That's how it works.
Okay, gotcha.
Now you know, and
Now I
everybody
know. So,
else. Yeah.
uh, when you have a baby, it's usually like in a family, the baby, everyone in the family, kind of the baby dictates everything, even though the baby doesn't know anything, right? The whole family is around the baby's schedule.
Mm,
Even the grandparents, everybody's coming to
yeah.
serve the little baby. We spend all kind of money on games and all kind of
I,
activities
I
and
want to stop you
color.
already
Please stop.
and
Stop me.
continue on that line. Please do. But before that, I just want to say I'm just like, flooded with these experiences now with this baby. Uh, having a baby for the third time and all that. So I'm starting to
Actually,
think
Allie had the baby you just watched.
I was next to her.
I'm sure it was very hard work for you.
Of course. The so
But
the
honey, I changed the
baby.
doorknob. Didn't you see?
Oh man. You're taking all my credit here. Come on.
Sorry, sorry, sorry.
She might be watching this. I think she is. I think Allie's watching this. The so my baby, I'm starting to think this time around that they know, right? Like that
Mm,
I'm not kidding. I'm totally serious. That there is some point at which the baby recognizes, without recognizing, but kind of, you can see that they're playing with it in some way. Even in a baby, I'm talking
oh,
months
I'm
old.
here again with these guys.
And I'm controlling these folks.
Mm,
They're playing by my flute. It's like they're dancing to my music. I think i think that they know it, or at least they're instinctively working with it,
mm.
even if they don't recognize. There's no, surely there are no still, critical faculties of,
The
like,
words and things like that.
words
Yeah.
and what is control and relationships of
Watch what I
power.
do with them
and
now.
and yeah, exactly. But I
Let me see if I
think
can
that
get this guy to get me a blanket.
yeah, but yesterday I tried that. Now let's see what happens if I drop
Let's see how
this.
fast I can get her to nurse me.
But I think there's an instinct. There is some baby instinct that just kind of like, "Meh," I'll just, I'll cry this loud at this point, and then, someone will pick me up. Anyway, that kind of like, I'm ruling the world, or the world works around me. I'm just thinking that the baby has some instinct. And with that said, keep
You
going.
remember the NASA study we talked about a few weeks ago, where babies are born like geniuses, and then through
Ah,
education
yeah.
we and media we slowly turn every single
Mm-hmm.
one of them. We slowly turn. I think NASA
Yeah.
said 96% of them into dummies.
Painful results. Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Um, well, the Zuck kind of succeeded. We have little bit of a smaller crowd on Facebook, but I still think that this is going to be the best show so far. They got some really amazing things to open up. So, hello everybody on YouTube. Hello everybody on Facebook. We are in the great transition here. We are going to uh, enter into this we are entering into a new reality. We're looking at what's going on in the world through the lens of the wisdom of Kabbalah. Saf is in Israel. I'm Seth over here in New Jersey, and we're talking about babies. So
And we are babies too.
we are definitely babies. Let's get to that. Let me build up to that, if you will. So
Can
before
I do
you
another? Can I
turn my
do another?
story,
Can I do another 5 minute bit on
please go
why
for it. Go
on
for
one
it.
why we're babies? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding, man.
um, Okay, before you turned my opening on its head, I was trying to say that that we adults who I guess think we're in control, think we know what's going on. We invest a lot in colors and games and making the crib a certain way and all different kind of things. You call it a crib in Israel, the thing that you put them in, something. Okay,
Sure, sure.
in order to get some kind of reaction, we make sounds. Oh, oh baby, we make all kind of sounds, and we're hoping to get some kind of reaction from the baby.
Yeah.
And if we don't get a reaction,
it's instinctive too. It's so fascinating. You know,
On our part.
on our part, when you approach a baby, you want to do that kind of. You just want to do that, right? Why do you do that? I don't think it is because that you've seen others do it. Maybe some of that, but there it's a fact that this is. I remember when I read that research that like the facial expressions of a baby, uh, are built in. It's etched into the baby's DNA. It's all of us as human beings. There is a certain way we feel that makes us go like this. There's a certain way we feel that makes us go like this. It's something that is in our biology, and how we use sounds has to do with that as well. And if you take it to the realm of Kabbalah and like letters and words and sounds and what that
Oh
means,
yeah.
then clearly these are all laws of nature that are playing out. So I'm just, I'm flooded with these things because I'm seeing a baby every day, in my life today, and like, paying attention to
Wow,
these
it's
things.
so many. We got to take
Yeah.
notes here. There's so many different topics we can open up about this, like the five
Yeah.
different kind of
Yeah,
sounds
and I
and
wondered how long I can stop you from actually letting you go to
getting to
where
the point.
where
No,
you
it's
where
good. You're
you
like
wanted to go.
building up the pressure over here.
But
Um, if the baby doesn't respond, so we try more and more things. In fact, if the baby doesn't respond at all, we think that there's something wrong with the baby. So this is where I wanted to get to, that we are like these babies. We are full on spiritual babies, maybe even a little bit before that. And nature
yep.
is trying all these colors and all these sounds and all of these games with us to get us to react. And if we're not reacting, nature thinks, what's wrong with this piece of flesh over here, and is trying uh, different tactics. So how can we then start to decipher what's coming from the nature from nature? How can we, so for a baby, it's a natural development process. For us as already adults with minds and hearts that are developed, how can we already start going through this developmental process consciously? So
It's
and I'll,
it's it,
yeah,
no. I remember I spoke to my we should have had my wife on this discussion. Actually,
agree.
she has
But it
so
wasn't all supposed
much.
to be about babies, but this is just a good entry point.
Yeah, yeah,
But I
but
agree
that
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 Ali should be here.
specifically, no, she has so much to say about babies because she was into into that, but not just into making babies, but in terms
Aren't we all?
in terms of like researching it and seeing all kinds of parallels from what we know from the laws of nature based on the wisdom of Kabbalah and what science recognizes and finds. And it's really really interesting. There are babies, a lot of parents are not necessarily, they won't know it because they're not familiar with the symptoms, but some babies have. Yeah, you talked about a situation where we are trying to stimulate a baby's sensory kind of responses, and
Mm-hmm.
we might be on alert if we don't see the response we're looking for. In some cases, the babies over respond. They're oversensitive to stimuli of sensory experience, and that creates a different kind of problem. One way or another, to drive it back to where you wanted to take it, um, we should be worried, concerned, and pay attention to whether our babies are developing the exact right amount of sensitivity to
Mm-hmm.
to the messages, the signals that they're getting from their environment. Too little, and they're not going to communicate properly with their environment. Too much, and they're not going to communicate properly with their environment in a whole other way. And so, if that's where you wanted to go with it, if we recognize that we too are babies for Mother Nature, then we have to see, and Mother's Nature is also has to make sure, are we not too sensitive or too little sensitive to the signals that are coming at us. That's essentially the whole trouble with
Ju-
human
uh,
babies, with
Ju-
human beings.
uh,
Yeah.
there's a tiny little on my phone. I have like a tiny little icon of each person's face, so I can't really see it, but it looks like a very beautiful woman named Juda
Here.
TN. She says, "Men are especially babies."
Thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you for yes bringing that to the show,
She's
and
so
we both
right though. She's so right. Of course. You
yeah
know
we
why?
both agree.
Because you women, you make all the people. You know, you
I knew it
are
comes back. It's there.
you, no, it's true. Obviously, you know, you will always be like a higher degree in a sense. You will always be the degree in nature that gives birth to a person, you know, that is so a man, you know, whether we recognize it or not. And again, I'm not just saying this based on psychology. Psychology will definitely tell you similar things, but based on the wisdom of Kabbalah as well, when we study the spiritual nature of the structure of the spiritual degrees, the spiritual reality, we see it from there as well. The male part in nature and the is, you know, needs that motherly embrace, that motherly warmth, that motherly, that connection with the mother. We see it all throughout nature, and we as men, we certainly are babies in that sense. We will always try, consciously or not consciously, to look for, to get to sense that motherly embrace, and we will always try to impress the women too, when it, you know, when this is just a different manifestation of it, just like a
Okay, make
big.
more notes. We got like five
Yeah.
shows out of this one show here.
No, that was a
Sharon on
good
YouTube.
comment. That was a really good
That
comment,
was a
and
very good comment,
yeah,
so thank you for that.
you're
Sharon
absolutely right.
in Israel, she's on YouTube, says, when there's no response from a child, you take drastic action. It's sort of like
Mm.
nature shaking us up to get a reaction. Okay, so um, say there's a certain signal that's coming from a star, and we don't know what it is. We have some kind of device, and all of a sudden we pick up some wave or something like that, and we have a lot of money invested in these telescopes or whatever these satellites are, a lot of brain power, a lot of years of studying, and we pick up on some wave. And so we're trying to understand, what is this signal and where is it coming from, and how do we need to tune ourselves to hear it correctly, in order to kind of understand where it's coming from. So for example, somebody recently found something that radiated something to us that was like, I don't understand the science behind it, 100 billion light years away, but somehow, something reached us. So anyway, we are not sending
Wait,
light
you're
beams.
talking about the astronomers who discovered the Big Bang?
That also, yeah.
Ah, you were
I
talking.
was talking about, no, no. Recently, someone found the farthest planet ever. It was like
Ah.
100 billion light years away. But the Big
I
Bang is
think
also very.
they just found a black hole as well, by the way.
Well. Let's. Okay, listen, man. You're gonna have to let me at some point get to
I'm
what I'm
not
trying to do over
I'm
here.
not going
But
into the black hole. Not going.
but go.
That's it. No.
Let's talk about the
I
the
I thought you brought it up.
no, the Big Bang analogy. The Big Bang. The way they found the Big Bang though is yeah, let's talk about that for a minute, and then we'll keep rolling, because that's a really good analogy. So there was some guys, they were trying to measure brightness in the sky or something, and I don't remember the
Yeah.
exact story. They were trying to measure brightness, and they kept
They
getting all
started
this radio
hearing they
interference.
just got noise all the time,
They thought it was from New York City, some kind of interference. They
or
thought
even
it was
pigeons.
pigeons,
Yeah.
on their something, and I don't remember. Do you remember how it all turned out? I
And
don't know
then
the whole story.
they called another scientist. You know, I'm just talking about it in the layman kind of language, you know, which is, you know, how we understand it. They called another scientist. He said, oh, you're onto something. You don't even understand what you're onto. This is background, cosmic microwave background radiation thing. Long story short, you're hearing the early moments, the cooling of the explosion from the early moments of the universe.
from the
And
big
that's
from the
how
Big Bang.
they discovered the
Yeah.
Big Bang.
So
Yeah.
they basically heard, they were hearing the Big Bang. is
Yes.
what the like
The
the right. So there's ways, at first you have a lot of radiation and then it cools and it's microwave and it cools even more and it's radio waves. And so you can
yeah.
measure these kind of things. Okay.
Yeah.
So so imagine you're ancient man and woman and you're living by some riverbank and the river you build your little hut there and you're living off of nature and you're going into the water and you're taking out the fish and
Cool.
maybe you're bathing
Cool.
your kids there and whatever. And then one
Oh,
day,
sounds great. I
spring
gotta say,
comes.
it sounds great.
I know.
It
Well,
just
I know.
sounds
I always thought I'd
great.
move to Costa Rica, like if everything really went down, but then you start studying and realize there's nowhere to run. But okay, no more tangents. You're
Okay.
living by the river, and and it floods. It floods, right? So what does a smart person do? Smart person builds his hut again by the river and curses the river. And then you're living there and you're fishing and bathing.
Yeah.
And then spring comes again and the river floods. And what do you see? Do you just curse at the river and you rebuild your
Okay.
hut? Okay, no, really what you do is you understand there's some kind of system happening here. And it
Mm-hmm.
turns out that every year at a certain time, this happens in the river. And so you build your house in a different place.
Right.
Okay. So very, very similar situation to where we find ourselves right now, except we're not interpreting
Mm.
what's happening to us. So the so this force of nature is actually illuminating for us these things like a river. But when we were more primitive, it was more primitive. It was actually water in the house. Today, it feels like a lack of confidence, or it feels like fear, or it feels like a confusion. It's these things are not bad things, but these states come to us. It comes at us as like an emotional river, right? Not as water that's going to drown our house, but this emotional river comes at us on purpose because if we responded to it just instinctually, then we would be no different than an animal, right? All of a sudden, I feel this and I move over here. All of a sudden, I feel this and I move over here. But instead, we now need to be human, which means to be spiritual, which means to be moving beyond just our protein bodies, beyond our just animal instinct. Oh, I get beaten, I move over here. I get beaten, I move over here. So this lack of confidence, this fear, this confusion that comes to us. So imagine that by this we start to say, I okay, so now I do need your help to try and get these words out. Somehow these are signals.
Mm-hmm.
From these signals, I want to now move to higher land, higher ground. I'm not erasing those signals, and not only am I not erasing them, I'm not living in them. I feel them, but that's not where I'm existing. I'm feeling them as like the parent who is with the toys and with the whatever. I just wanted to be in the womb where I was comfortable, where I didn't have to deal with anything. And I'm just floating around in this warm womb and I'm safe. And now I'm pushed out through this canal and I'm out here and I don't know, you make me do all these things. And can,
We are dealing with a case of a misinterpretation of the signals. That's that's what's happening. But
mm,
there's I'm just, going into your
please do.
to
But let's
your
frame it like this even.
yeah.
We're calling it misinterpretation, but nobody did anything wrong because we never
No,
even
no, 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 no.
evolved. We never developed to the point where we would
We yeah, we were supposed to misinterpret at first. Here's the thing. Okay, okay. Let me back up a little. Okay,
back up,
we
please.
still got time. When you look when when you look at nature, and we see this majestic harmony, right? You see when you really take it in, and you it happens to you sometimes, when you hike somewhere in a new place, typically, like, it helps if you're a little bit confused by travel helps being confused. And when you're confused, you have this moment of refocusing your vision, redesigning your perception. You kind of rethink where you are. It happens to us when we're sometimes, in nature in certain places. But when you really take it in, like that we live in this vast array of many different variations and values of life, around us. When you really take it in and you kind of try to look at all of that in your mind's eye, then you recognize that it's almost as if there's this greater force, divine force, if you will, of nature that's animating everything, every particle, every atom, every organism, every species, and it's breathing life into all of these particles. And so this this force that animates all of life, it is a program, essentially the program that creates life, the program that governs and creates and
Let me help you name
sustains.
this. So
Yeah,
need
yeah,
need to know on YouTube says, I'm gonna need to know. I'm gonna interpret your question a little. Need to know says, how do we increase our vibrations? Prayer, meditation. But what that means to me is in relation to this, how do we calibrate ourselves to this signal
yeah,
that you're talking?
yeah. So our whole, so what I'm trying to say is the signal is happening. What is the signal, first of all, and why are we not hearing it, and how can
First of
we
all, the
hear it?
signal feels terrible right now. It
Why
feels
does it
like
feel?
chaos. It
But
feels like
why does
pain.
it
It feels
feel
like suffering.
terrible? Why does it feel terrible? I'm trying to say that without our perception of it, if you judge it just by what it is, let's consider it, let's assume that it's perfect, that nature is this incredible interplay between opposite forces that find this harmonious connection between them. It's the rainbow of all the different colors that weave together unbounded beauty. It's the dance of all of the players playing together an impossibly harmonious symphony. That's what nature is doing. Why do we feel, that's the question now, why do we feel out of that program, that we're
Because I
left
don't have
out of
enough
this
money.
program? How did you get there? the,
No, no, because we always feel a lack of something. We don't have the person we want. We don't have the money we want. We don't have the health we want. We always feel that we don't have the president we want. We don't have the
hmm.
education we want. It's always something. We're always
but
always feel.
but even if when your those desires are fulfilled to an extent, I think there's another. We feel, for some reason, we feel consciously separate from the rest of nature. That's what I'm trying to say. From that program of harmony, we don't feel that we're part of it. We don't feel like we are part of that. Of that.
Okay, so Lisa Rosenberg on Facebook says, and again, I'm going to interpret these questions to kind of keep us on our direction here. It says, what is or isn't natural with a baby? So I'm going to interpret that here to be, so what is the, it's the same question as need to know. How are we calibrating? So we're the baby facing this infinite organizing force that the Kabbalists say is all good, that's emanating all love. How are we calibrating ourselves to these forces that feel to me like a lack of confidence, that feel to me like fear, that feel to me like confusion? Because these things, it's not, think about the river example again. I can't just keep cursing the river and telling you why the river's not right. But this time I built the walls bigger in my house, damn it. And this time I even moved it to this, first I put it here and the water came, then I moved it there and the water
Yeah.
still comes. How many times I have to, no, it's, there's
It's
some,
we're not attuned to the music. That's what I'm trying to get at.
mm,
We don't have the okay, so let's take the analogy of those astronomers who heard the Big Bang, right? They thought they were hearing noise. They thought it's
pigeons.
pigeons. They thought they need to clean that giant dish they had, or whatever it was. They thought they need to clean it from pigeons who lived there.
They thought it was pigeons and it was Big Bang. And that's like us. We think that the things we're feeling it's pigeons compared to what we're actually feeling.
So what were they missing? All they were missing is a talk with another scientist who happened to know more, and he just told them, no, you're reading it incorrectly. What's actually happening, it didn't change anything. He didn't, change their device. They still heard the same noise, but suddenly that noise had a completely different meaning. That noise was not pigeons, interfering with our work. It was the source of the origin of our whole universe suddenly. And so
So,
today, all of the noise, what we consider noise, such as a global pandemic and everything that's happening between us, wars and crimes and poverty and what have you, and violence, it's part of the program. We need to read all of that differently. What we're missing is, to be blunt here, is the wisdom of Kabbalah that will give us the right context, that will tell us
be
what is actually
blunt.
happening. What's actually happening is that there are two forces of nature that are working within humanity at the same time, opposite, yet trying to find completion. And they're opposite to each other. One force is the force that develops our egoism. We naturally are driven to become more and more self centered, egoistic, individualistic, feeling separate from each other and from the rest of nature. This is a force of nature that's playing itself out. And in everything we do, we embody that part of the program. The other part of the program is linking us and weaving us and connecting us together into a network that is inescapable, connecting us all over the globe. What is COVID's doing? Exactly that. Just
So yeah, someone with a Russian name is asking. So I don't know how to read the letters, and the second name is Lileshka on YouTube. Says, "What does nature tell us with all of these impulses and elements and all these spheres?"
So I would say like this, and help me out here. Nature is telling us that on the human level, we have to recognize these two forces of nature, which are really one force just playing itself, playing in plus and minus, darkness and light, uh, plus, left and right, call it however you want, these two opposites. We have to consciously merge them in the human consciousness so we can begin to use the egoistic force, but for the sake of connecting with everyone and with the rest of nature. And until we manage to hear that, we will either be too sensitive to one side of the equation or the other side of the equation. We will either be submerged by the ego and not even seeing that the egoistic force is ruling our thoughts, behavior, etc. And or on the other hand, we will try to just you know be good to each other or play nicely and all that
So
without.
Miriam,
Yeah, we have to
Miriam
balance the two.
Miriam Wilson on YouTube says, we could try accepting nature and go with it. In other words, get with the program. So, right, but
Yeah.
what does it? So, but Miriam, here's the snag on. So yes, 100%. But here's the snag. What does it mean to accept nature? Right? Does it mean I'm just going to eat organic? Does it mean I'm just going to vote green? No. We're taught when we're talking about accepting nature. Here's the thing, and this is what we were trying to open up at the beginning. It has to do with our perception, because we're measuring everything, like the guy who his perception was, we got to clean the pigeon poop off of the telescope or whatever, off of his satellite. We don't have we're not measuring, okay, I see. So that we're burning too much fossil fuels. We need to be in line with nature. So we're going to move to solar panels. But we don't realize that where the solar panels come from and what kind of destruction has to happen and what kind of mining, and it all ends up in a garbage dump anyway. So, okay, so we're going to do with wind, or we're going to, doesn't matter what we come up with. Listen, Albert Einstein, a pacifist, a musician, a scientist, worked with children, everything. Great guy, nice guy, cute mustache and hair and everything like that. Like they took his science and made a bomb out of it. Made like the worst bomb. No matter what humans come up with, we don't have the vessels to get this perception to see and use it in the right way. So yes, it's accepting nature and getting with the program. That's one, but the other part of it, that's kind of the pre part, is to have to make the right perception in us. Because if we're just going to measure with our five senses, every time we'll be wrong, every time. Now, I'm not saying it's not right. It's not good for running your business, and it's not good for making dinner, and it's not good for, living your regular life. Of course it is. We've been living here for, a couple billion years. It's how it is here. But when we talk about now entering into the spiritual reality, we need to develop a new perception. We need to sense everything that we're feeling now, right? I feel lack of confidence. I feel fear. I feel confusion. So I find some coach. I pay a coach a lot of money, or I watch YouTube videos, or I say a mantra to make it go away, or to figure. No, it stays. It remains. But I start to perceive it all in a different way and actually enter into reality that's like a second floor. Like everything I felt in my life so far up until this point was like on one level, and now through these things we start to like lift up to another dimension, and these things actually help us. uh, that's actually going with the flow, is not to erase those things. It's to act. That's actually coming from nature. That is what nature is sending us. Either that, or nature's doing a terrible job.
Let me add to that. Let me add to that. Nature wants your consciousness. Nature wants your conscious participation. Nature wants your attention. Nature wants your affection. Nature created, Mother Nature has created a creature in the form of human beings that is unique from the rest of nature. Because in our case, our instincts don't embody the whole program. Our consciousness was left outside of the program to develop independently so that it can later grow and re-enter the program consciously. It's much like how we as parents want our children to grow as independent beings and make their own lives, right? That's what nature wants from humanity. Unlike the rest of nature, which are layers that lay the foundation for the human level, that are creating the foundation, the basis, that they lay the ground for that creature called the human being to then uh, uh, activate this new frequency of joining with the program, getting with the program, yes, getting with the flow of nature, but doing that not by instinct, doing that by choice, doing that with a conscious, active participation. And that's the only way, throwing us out of the program and then allowing us to make our conscious choice to get back into it, is the only way in which the program, the director of the program, right? The creator of the program was able to create a creature that will have an actual experience of the perfection and beauty and bliss and harmony that was created in nature. That's what I was trying to say before. That all the other levels, the when the whale, from the whale that flaps its tail, or the to the snail that what do they do? Can you say snails crawl? No, they don't crawl.
They slither. I don't know
they
what they do.
they sluggishly slug their
Yeah.
ways into. Anyway, so from the whale to the snail and everything in between, they're all in the program. They're all in that harmonious symphony. They're all in that beautiful music, but they have no choice in the matter and no conscious experience in the matter. We need to develop our ears to start hearing the music. Just like the babies, when we're playing with the babies, like Seth said in the beginning, when we're playing with the babies and we're trying to get them to respond to signals, that's what nature is trying to do with us. And especially now in the 21st century, when we've finished our independent growth outside of the program, now it's time for us to start reinterpreting, opening our ears in a different way, hearing the music, letting it penetrate our hearts so that all of humanity's hearts can begin to beat as one, to dance to the same music. Until we hear that higher frequency of nature, we won't be able to get along. We won't
Yeah.
be
This is
able
what
to
Miriam
solve things in the
Miriam.
world. Yeah,
This
go
this
ahead.
is, by the way, this is absolutely beautiful and captivating. This is what Miriam, I kind of took the liberty of using your question to jump into what Asaf was just saying, but Miriam was saying, you know, this is what she was talking about, that um, to hear that thing as a conscious being. There's two questions, Asaf, that are almost the same. Master within, known by Mindful on YouTube, and Sheila on Facebook. Almost the same question. How can we consciously merge the two forces for the benefit of the world? And
Mm.
then the second part of it is, like, what do we do about people who don't hear this yet?
Wow, that's a whole series
Let
of
me tell you who
shows.
is hearing before you answer the question.
But
Um,
Seth, I don't know how to answer it shortly, so you should try.
okay, I'm gonna do the global check now, and your job is to think about how you're
Okay,
gonna
okay.
answer it
So you should
quickly. Okay.
ask just
Okay.
a part of it, first, because there's two, right?
Okay. So, hello, everybody, again. We are very, very happy to have you with us. We have friends with us from Northern California, Virginia, Ohio, Greece, Minnesota, Canada, Puerto Rico, Egypt, Israel. Hala, I hope you made it over here. I know you were looking to get into the show earlier in Egypt. Israel, Norway, Long Island, Portugal, Tampico, Mexico, Brazil, Sao Paulo, Quebec, Turkey, Azmad, Jammu, and Kashmir. Wow, nice. Hello, welcome.
Woo.
Florida, Rochester, Denmark, Spain, Colombia, Mississippi, Los Angeles, Staten Island, and Kenya in Africa. Wow, we are super, super happy that everybody is here with us. Okay,
Yes.
Asaf, here, you ready? Your job is to give short answers.
Ah.
We have two questions. They're almost the same. Sheila, I think Sheila's in Africa. She's on Facebook here. Master Within, known by Mindfulness on YouTube. How can we merge these two forces uh, for the benefit of the world? Okay, that's the first question. Keep it short.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We can't.
What?
Sorry.
No, no, wrong
I'm
answer.
I'm
Wrong
sorry.
answer.
Sorry. Okay, that's it. Done. End of the show. Let's play the music. See you
Wrong
on
answer.
Sunday. No, we can't do it on our own though. We can do it only if we can try to do it, and we should try to do it, but it's only our desire that will make contact, our desire to be in balance with nature, to make what is called a correction over our ego, to upgrade our consciousness and our hearts. That evolutionary upgrade, we can't just do that. It's not something that we do with our hands and legs. It's not something that we come together in a meeting of special smart people and decide to do. We need to really want it. That's the purpose of our show here, to grow the desire in everyone that's hearing and in ourselves, everyone together, in all of humanity, the desire to rise to a new level where we are in balance with each other, in balance with nature. When we grow that desire within us, and we all have it deep down somewhere inside, if you're a human being, you have that desire to find that higher level where you find meaning and purpose in life and so on, where you balance the two forces and find your higher self. When we awaken that desire within us, then we get feedback from nature. This is something called light in the wisdom of Kabbalah. It's
And right in the corporeal world, where you can, even once you start understanding what signals you're receiving, you can even say, oh, there's a planet 100 billion light years away, and it's this big, and it behaves like this, and it moves here. You Once you start to interpret the signals, you can see things that your eyes can't see. You can start to feel things that your hands can't feel. And way beyond seeing something even 100 billion, it's ridiculous to say, but it's something even beyond seeing something 100 billion light years away. You're entering into a whole new field. Okay, next part of the question, without getting
I
let's
know,
keep
I
them
know, I
short.
know. I failed in keeping it short, in the keeping it short part. But if we're already failed in that, then then I might as well add just one more encouraging statement here. That
Go ahead.
for an individual, this is impossible. The human being needs nature's help to do that. But if a lot of individuals are coming together with a shared desire to do that, to find that higher level of connection, that balance with nature, then it's easy. Just like how we wouldn't be able to get to this level of discussion without all of us here right now doing this all together. Just like, if we didn't all connect using the infrastructure of the internet that we have right now, we wouldn't be able to rise above a little bit above our mundane thoughts. This is the power that we have over each other, and that we should use it in order to elevate each other spiritually. Okay, I'm done. Sorry.
Okay,
Go
you did a
ahead.
terrible job of keeping it short. You did a really good job at giving an answer. We got like 4 or 5 more, so try harder, please. uh, what do we do about people who can't hear, who are not interested in this message?
Okay, the shortest answer I can say is try to respect and love everyone in humanity as your child, wanting them to grow. We cannot, the Kabbalist's way is not to prove anyone wrong or to try to fight our agenda. It doesn't work that way. We are partners with nature's plan, and we gotta treat, some people are feel what we're saying, some people not yet. We want them to, with love and concern for the whole of humanity. We want them to awaken, but only with love, never with any kind of what's the word for it when you try to prove someone wrong? There's a good word for it. Uh,
I don't remember.
ah,
Um,
whatever. Yeah.
Okay. So
Okay.
Master Within by Mindfulness says he's a COBU student, or she is a COBU student. So she understands this thing we're talking about calibrating ourselves to this force. But what do you do about people who can't hear the music? Which you answered. So I just add a little piece there that when we do a correction on ourselves, also as you keep studying, we're going to you learn more and more about perception of reality and what actually are these levels of still vegetative, animate, and speaking that we see outside of us. They're actually it's actually our inner vessels being projected to us outside of us. So as we start correcting ourselves, um, the world begins to correct. And then there's also the matter of doing what Asaf and I are doing now, and what many of our friends around the world are doing, which is disseminating, which is spreading it. But actually also this process is a process of correcting our own soul, because actually the connection between all of these parts here, this is the vessel in which we can actually hear that signal. By a person's on their own, we can't hear that signal. Another question
And the
from
word is
Anders.
refute. I had to. Don't try to refute people who uh, who don't hear the message yet. Just care for them. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, Anders on YouTube says, does Kabbalah teach about new earth like in other religions? So Anders, Asaf, you may be tuned into this more. I'm not sure. New Earth sounds like a thing. I don't
I
know
I
what.
I I I admit my ignorance. I don't know what New Earth means.
Okay,
I don't
so
know what
he
that
he
is.
says also such as like olam haba. Just so Anders, I don't know. New Earth sounds like it's like a thing that some religions or some beliefs have. I don't know what that is, but in the wisdom of Kabbalah, we learned that the Earth is native Hebrew speaker, the word for Earth,
Aretz.
and the word for desire.
Ratzon. Yeah, it's the same.
Okay, so
It
it's
comes
it's
from
the
the same
same
word.
word,
Yeah.
right? It's the same letters. It's the same word. So um, yeah, new Earth means like a new desire. Um, so yes, I'm not exactly sure what your question is, but yes, we're upgrading our desire from the animalistic desire to the spiritual desire. Um, that might be it, Asaf. We might be at the
Wow.
end of questions. I think we did it.
We actually did it.
Did we miss it? Did we miss anyone?
Even with my too long of an answers.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was getting nervous there. And there was a few. Oh, Biruk is here from Ethiopia. That's amazing. Hey, brother. Um, hold on. There was someone else. Ah, John in Olympia is here, and Lisa in St. Louis is here. Hi, Norca and Theodora in Bulgaria and Tunisia. Oh, Judah, who told us before that men are the bigger babies. She's from Tunisia. Wow.
Yeah, and also
Asaf,
Anders, if we have another minute, Anders, a few minutes ago, I think he wrote something in the chat like, so what we got to do is to sort of expand our ego to include the rest of the world. And while there's probably a more accurate way of defining that, you're on the right track. That's what needs to happen. The funny thing is, Seth, I want to. That's what I want to say about it. Actually, the funny thing is this: we are at the threshold, at the precipice of moving into a world of perfection, of harmony, of beauty beyond unimaginable harmony, where all of our opposite different qualities and our differences and the very reasons why we hate the other political party or the other people or the other neighbor, where those things are actually the basis of an unimaginable, impossible harmony that we can't even imagine while we are, confined in our narrow, egoistic perceptions. We're just about to transition into this great, wide, wide and bright new world,
to be
and
born.
that's to be born into some, and that's going to be so we can't even perceive the level of bliss and pleasure and beauty that we'd experience. We get this, we get a very, a glimpse of it when we make the right effort to come out of our ego, when we practice the wisdom of Kabbalah, when we but as an entire human race, we're going to go into a whole new reality. And so it's funny that, thinking about it from that perspective, when you have that, when you get a glimpse of where we're actually going, and then you go back and look at where we are, it's such a it's funny that, that it's so hard for us. And yet, that's the nature of the difference between the levels of being, the levels of evolution. Just like the vegetative is qualitatively higher than the still, than the animate, than the vegetative, and the human, than the animal. The spiritual human is a whole new level, and that's where we're going. That's where the whole world is going. That's where what the great transition is all about. So,
Everybody here, you are the pioneers. We're doing this together. Let's continue to influence each other, get to know each other, constantly share these thoughts with each other, keep each other's spirits up. Uh, Unlike the animals, we're not going to instinctively know this. We have to do this together. That's actually how we build the satellite to to feel the love that's coming at us by calibrating ourselves to that love. Let's do it. We'll see you again on Sunday. Who's with us on Sunday? Bright. Bright is going to be our guest on Sunday. Bright is always behind the scenes here. It's going to be a really exciting show. Amazing energy. This friend, if you don't know him, has incredible energy. He'll be on the show with us. Asaf, thank you so much. Oh, I can't hear you. Are you muted?
I'm sorry, I was muted. Yeah,
There you go.
I was just saying the brightest light will be here. Bright is our dear friend. That's how I call him. You're gonna get a glimpse of the brightest light. So Sunday, 2 p.m.
Sunday,
Eastern.
2 p.m. Eastern.
The Great Transition. Let's listen to that one symphony that comes from nature with one heart and one soul. With one heart, one
Big hug, everyone.
soul.
See ya.